Chapter 1, The Invitation. It started with a knock at my door. That was weird enough. I lived in the middle of nowhere, in a desert town that barely made it onto maps. My nearest neighbor was 10 miles away, and I hadn't ordered anything. I opened the door, expecting a lost traveler or some stubborn salesman. Instead, I found her. She was tall, with silver-blue skin that shimmered under the porch light. Her eyes, slit-pupiled like a cat's, glowed faintly. She had long, dark tendrils instead of hair, which coiled around her shoulders. She wore what looked like a form-fitting suit made of some kind of organic material that moved with her body. We stared at each other for a long moment. Then she smiled, showing slightly pointed teeth. "May I enter?" she asked in perfect English. At this point, a normal person would have slammed the door and called the authorities. Me? I was a little too polite for my own good. Sure? As soon as she stepped inside, a golden glow surrounded her, and a strange hum filled the air. My skin prickled. The air felt thicker. She tilted her head. "It is done." I frowned. "What's done?" She gave me another one of those sharp, knowing smiles. "The contract is sealed. We are now bonded, as per the laws of my people." I blinked. "Excuse me? You invited me in," she said, stepping closer. An invitation into one's home is the highest form of acceptance in my culture. It is a sacred agreement between two beings. You have acknowledged me as your life partner. I took a step back. "Wait, what?" She sighed as if she had expected this reaction. "You have just agreed to marry me." Chapter 2. Trying to get out of it. My brain went into overdrive. Was I hallucinating? Did I eat something weird? "Okay, hold on a second," I said, raising my hands. "I didn't mean to accept anything. This is a misunderstanding. A big, big misunderstanding." The alien woman looked amused. "Intent is irrelevant. Words have power, and the contract is bound by them. You spoke, I entered, and now we are linked. There's got to be a way to undo this, right?" Her amused expression faded. "To break the bond would require one of us to be dishonored beyond repair, exiled, or death." I paled. Let's not do that last one." She inclined her head. "Then it would be best if you accepted our union with grace." I slumped onto the couch, running a hand through my hair. "This cannot be happening." "It is happening," she said, sitting down beside me. "But do not despair, mate. I am not without value." "Mate?" I choked. "You're calling me mate now?" "It is what you are." She studied me closely. "You are weaker than I expected, but you have kind eyes." "Thanks." "You will do well," she declared, as if this was all a done deal. I groaned. "What's your name, anyway?" She straightened. "I am Xyra of the House of Virith, daughter of the Void-born and guardian of the Fifth Gate." "Right," I muttered. "And I'm Jake from Arizona." She gave me a nod, as if that was just as impressive. Chapter 3, Meeting the In-Laws. I had just started wrapping my head around the situation when things got worse. The next morning, a ship landed right in my backyard. It was sleek, dark, and too big for my property. The noise scared the hell out of my cat, and I had to run after him before he bolted into the desert. From the ship, 3 other aliens emerged. One was massive, at least 7 feet tall, with dark red skin and golden eyes. The second had a more humanoid appearance, but with translucent wings that shimmered in the sun. The third was an elderly alien with silver robes, a staff, and an aura of authority. Xyra turned to me. "They are my family." I swallowed hard. The elder stepped forward, looking me up and down with clear disapproval. "So this is the one?" Xyra nodded. "He is the one who invited me into his home. We are bonded now." The elder sighed. "This will not be easy." "Yeah, no kidding," I muttered. The massive one, who I assumed was her brother, crossed his arms. "If he is to join our house, he must prove himself." "Prove myself how?" I asked warily. By surviving the trials, of course, the elder said, as if this was obvious. I turned to Xyra. You failed to mention trials. She gave me a reassuring pat on the shoulder. Do not worry. I will train you. Chapter 4. Surviving the Trials. The next few days were a blur of pain, exhaustion, and near-death experiences. The trials involved fighting a robotic combat drone that shot plasma bolts at me, solving an alien puzzle that could have vaporized me if I got the answer wrong, walking across a bridge made of shifting energy fields that tried to disintegrate me, drinking something that burned like fire but somehow enhanced my reflexes. Through it all, Xyra stayed by my side. She trained me, caught me when I nearly fell, and even growled at her own brother when he pushed me too hard. By the end, I was battered, bruised, and completely out of breath. But I was alive. The elder nodded in approval. He is not completely useless. High praise, I muttered. Xyra beamed. He will make a fine mate. Chapter 5. The Wedding. I expected some kind of elaborate alien ritual, but the wedding was surprisingly simple. We stood under a strange, glowing tree. The elder placed his hands on both of our heads, muttered some words in an ancient language, and then declared us bonded. A symbol appeared on my wrist, a swirling mark that pulsed with light. There, Xyra said, now you are officially mine. I looked at her, still processing everything. I had started this week as a regular guy living alone in the desert. Now I was married to an alien warrior, bonded by an unbreakable cosmic law, and technically part of an intergalactic family. I sighed. Guess I'm married now. Xyra smirked. You could do worse. I glanced at her. Strong, fierce, beautiful in an otherworldly way. Maybe she had a point. A month later, I found myself standing at the helm of a massive starship, staring at the stars. Xyra leaned against me. You are adjusting well. Yeah, well, I said, it helps when your wife is a badass warrior who saved me from getting vaporized. She grinned. You are not so bad yourself, mate. I chuckled, shaking my head. So, what's next? Xyra's eyes gleamed. Adventure. I sighed. Of course it is. And with that, we jumped to hyperspace into a future I never could have imagined.